Good afternoon and welcome to TexasHold'emQuestions.com. Very excited to say this is our very first ever video we're putting on the website today. It's the Big 3 6K guaranteed on Saturday the 8th of June. You'll notice straight off the bat we're playing this tournament without the use of heads-up display. That's a conscious decision on my part. I really want to get us play it, really focusing on the players, note-taking as we go, being observant. And I just feel if we play more than one table and have heads-up displays, we're not going to really get into the hand reading or taking advantage of our opponents quite as much. I really feel when you play lots of tables, you do lose some of your edge. So playing this tournament or cash game, wherever you play, you should already have your assumptions of or instincts of how the opposition are likely to play. So we're in a micro stakes, no limit holder tournament on Saturday. Pretty much we know the calibre is not going to be very strong, so my assumptions are people won't be folding strong hands, they're going to be overplaying stuff, their bet sizing is going to be all over the place. So how are we going to exploit that? We're going to be playing very carefully. We're going to play big hands with big pots, small hands with small pots. We're going to be active and aggressive and drive the pots on our terms. Hopefully that will see us have a deep run. You'll see that I played twos very cautiously there. I'm not used to recording and playing. So hopefully we'll have a good session here today. You'll notice that there's several players with colour codes and notes already. It took me a little while to get this recording software working, so we were note taking as we go along. Light blue denotes weak, just a generic weak player, and a darker blue is a weak passive player. So we at the moment have 32 big blinds, and yeah, we think people make mistakes into us this tournament. We don't think people are going to be making big folds, so we're not going to be doing crazy bluffs. We're just going to be playing sensible. And there you go. So look, we already see someone's just stacking off with ace 3 suited. We want to be the guy with kings exploiting these kind of players. So yeah. If this is your first time visiting TexasHold'emQuestions.com, I just want to share some of the services we currently offer. We have the traditional one-to-one poker coaching, which we have available for all the different types of poker, as well as different formats, whether you're a cash game player or a tournament player. We also have a unique service called Coaching by Email, and what that is it's really designed for players who aren't keen on TeamViewer, Skype, or don't really have the budget for that one-to-one coaching and prefer to have a poker coach but do all their consultancy via email. And that's, I believe, $160 a month, but heavily discounted if you pay annually, and basically you have unlimited communication via email with your coach. We also have hand history reviews. So how that works is you can either cherry pick the hands that you want, and you really get good value that way. But also another way is if you have the budget for it, you can just you go through a whole tournament session or cash game session, and the way it usually works is your coach will ask you questions all the way along. Why did you do that? Did you consider this? And the reason being is, and that's why we have Texas Hold'em questions in the sites, because we want thinking players. We're not going to train robots. We want to help you become the best poker player you can be. We don't buy into this. Everyone has to play a certain way. We're not really that keen even on the automated post-flop software that's coming out. We want you to have fun and be your own player, and we will help you become the best player you can be. With that in mind, especially when you're playing tournaments like this today, you really have to think about the long run. That's what we ingrain in our players. Play for the long term. Don't be results orientated, and you'll go far. Review your results every year. A good analogy I find is, at the moment, if you're a losing player or break even, or maybe even a small winner, you might have a couple of apples that you've gone and bought from the shop. But if you get good poker coaching with us, you'll plant the seeds now, you'll have a tree in a few months, and then you'll have a lot of apples in the future. So you just it's about investment and reassessing. And we don't stake our players. All our players are whatever they win is their own. So bankroll management is certainly very important. You don't want to be jumping ahead to playing games too high for you. Likewise, you don't want to be too cautious or play ones beneath you if you have the edge and the bankroll to play higher. So we'll help you in any which way you see fit, or we see fit as well. Anyway, moving on to this tournament, we've got 31 big blinds. We've been reasonably careful so far. We haven't been all in for all our chips at any point, which I always think is a good sign. If you're not risking your tournament life too much early on, that's quite often going to be a good sign. We did risk 1600 of our chips with ace king against a pair of nines earlier. But other than that, there's been no all-in showdowns. You will notice our pre-flop raise sizes are going to be different today. Now, this is something a lot of poker coaches are not that big a fan of. I think partly because they feel like if you raise different amounts pre-flop, it makes you exploitable in the sense that your opponents will feel you're opening more with ace or kings or less with a certain hand, or vice versa. And that's not going to be the case with us today. The reason we're going to be opening min raise from early position, 2.2 from mid, and 2.5 from late position. The reason being is, out of position, I really want to play smaller pots. I'm going to open that same amount with 6-7 suited as I am ace, king, or aces. I'm just very mindful that we're going to get called a lot and be out of position. And conversely, when I'm in position, I know I have the advantage, so I want to make those pots bigger if I can, irrespective of whether my hand's stronger or not. I want to play bigger pots in position. It's just a very simple logic. And to be honest, we know when we make it 2.2 or 2.5, people are going to call this. It's very obvious. People will call 2.2 just as much as they're calling 2.5. So I have no problem opening 2.5 in late position because I know I'm getting more value. So that's just two. You will notice that the bet slider options has that default. I only implemented that today. So here we go. We've got a multi-way pot here, 5, 7, 9. I'll try and give a little bit more. Now we've got the website information out of the way. And a weak passive player in the small blind. Let's check folded. Okay. You bet half the pot when checked to there. Okay, so the blinds are creeping up a little bit here. We're not quite as deep stacked as we'd like. We have 25-ish big blinds, so we're not especially deep at this point. You notice my time bank has gone down quite a bit. We did have a little bit of thinking time earlier. So yeah, this seems to be the order of the day. A lot of people they're constantly min raising, and then I find them min raising, but then call in huge reshoves or re-raise out of position. That's why I alluded to earlier when I said about thinking players. There should be a reason for all your bets and your checks and your folds. Everything should always have a reason, and it just seems like a lot of players are just playing autopilot. So he has called the reshove with the king queen here, and this is exactly what I mean. What was the purpose of his min raise if he's just going to call it off when he doesn't have the price there with a king queen? As it happens, he wasn't in terrible shape, but you've only invested 500. You didn't have to invest the extra 3,000 or whatever it was. So I'm not going to note him as a weak player just yet, but just very mindful that you are getting called in these tournaments very often. There will be a time and a place for doing bluffs and steals, but I don't think it's going to be in the early or mid stages necessarily. In those situations, I'm looking to nick the blinds here and there to keep myself active and help create a good table image. So the big stack on the buttons raised, the full 3x, nothing to do with 3-7, standard fold. The small blind with jack 6, and this time, so he's gone ahead and limped in with 13 bigs, and so straight away I can actually note him as a weak player because, with all due respect, I don't think there's a hand in the, and I really don't know how to min raise there either. So we've just seen a lot of weak player when I have more information, we can obviously take more notes. But yeah, I don't know the hand in the entire hand range where 13 bigs you want to open limp there. The gentleman with 22 big blinds over limped and a min raise over 2. Again, what is he trying to achieve there? He's trying to make the pot a little bit bigger in position. I suppose he's got the blinds out of the way, but he should really be making it 4x at least if he's going to raise over a couple of limpers. And that does not hit his range too well. I suppose he min raised, so he could have potentially an ace-9 suited or something, but they've checked. And this kind of board favours the guy who's sandwiched, I would say. He's over limped. He certainly can have suited connectors, so I wouldn't be surprised if he continued here. Although I suppose he could have paint cards as well. Be interesting to see what he does. The gentleman who min raised over the both limpers, we only know he's a weak player, so it's certainly plausible that he could have min raised over them with big pairs. The fact he's continued on that flop into 2 of them would add a bit more credibility, I suppose. So Petrov folded. If it folds to us here, we are going to raise. We're going to play as many hands in position as we can. There's 555 chips out there, so if it folded to us, we would have tried to nick the blinds, broadly speaking. But alas, the loopy opened in front of us. But we've got 24 big blinds, so those 555 chips now, even at this stage of tour, and it's a decent amount of change out there, particularly with the antes. That's almost a 10% increase in our stack if we nick them. So Petrov's gone ahead and limped. I'm just going to put a note limp Crawley, the old technical term. You could try and just raise to try and nick the blinds there because he's showing weakness, but the hand doesn't play well after the flop. And it's quite a lot of our chips to invest if we want to nick the chips there, because we've already seen he called a raise before, so we would probably have to make it 1250 or something to really try and get him to fold. And 1250 out of our 6,000 stacks is quite a significant portion, so we're really looking for a decent hand to play a big pot with and double up at this point, or nick the blinds to keep us ticking over. So he's limp called, and Danielson, who's done quite a few squeezes in this tournament, but he's shown down strong hands as well. That smashes his range. It was a curious bet on the flop, though, just 1/4. That seems to be quite popular lately, betting a third and a quarter. I think it can be a good bet, but very, very selective situations can it be a good bet. I see even good players quite often now doing those bets, and they're in scenarios where I'm thinking whatever his hand range can't be a great bet because you're just giving them such great pot odds. Even if you're doing it with a balanced range, there's only a few situations where it's a profitable move. So we're a bit card dead at the moment. We've not had any great scenarios, but tournament poker is very much survival based as well, so we're hanging in there. If we can get a double up, we can mix it up a bit. We're just not quite getting hands at the moment. But as I was saying, the plan is for this initial part to be free. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. The following parts, provided there are some, will be a small fee for the rest, and then hopefully this will be a service we can continue to offer if the demand is there. I'm going to fold the King 9. If he folded, there's a case for trying to steal it, but given we've got so many people with a propensity to call, and we're quite likely again to be out of position, so given there's 4 behind us, I probably would have folded again anyway. So it looks like he's going to have to nick the blind so far. I'd expect the big blind to call quite wide here, because you have to defend a lot of time with those blinds there. We're coming up to our 15-minute time limit. I hope you've enjoyed this video so far. Be sure to sign up for more material. This is Texas Hold'em at questions.com, the big 3 6K guaranteed on the 8th of June. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and continue to